Baylor softball has released the 2024 schedule for the spring, and I'm going to go over it. And I will tell you this much right now: it is a really good schedule in terms of being tested right away and all that. So I'm just going to make mention of that. First series of the year is Tennessee. February 9th at 6:30 p.m. Central Time, February 10th, 2 p.m. Central Time, and February 11th at 11 a.m. And they made it to the Women's College World Series a year ago, and then they're going to play McNeese State after that on February 16th on the road at 6 p.m. Central Time. They're a regional team nearly every year, including last year in Louisiana. They made it to the Super Regionals on the road February 16th at 6 p.m., then February 17th 2 p.m., February 18th at noon. All the times that I'm going to list are going to be Central Time, so just to let you know, so y'all can adjust. Yeah, McNeese, is a regional team, and of course Louisiana, like I said, as in the Raging Cajuns and not Louisiana State University, by the way. Just to make that clear. So that's already a really good start to the year. Then they play Notre Dame as a neutral site in the Merriweather Classic, and they were. I'm going to go over that real fast after I go over the other games, like Oregon at 5:30 p.m. and 2:30 p.m. for the Notre Dame game. By the way, February 23rd. It's UCC Riverside 6:30 p.m. UCLA 3:30 p.m. on the 24th. The 24th, also they have Missouri at 6 p.m. or 30 minutes after. So they're going to play a lot of games, but I'm going to go real fast. Notre Dame made it to regionals as well as Oregon and UCLA and Missouri, but I will say UCLA was a seeded team and they could have gone further. In fact, they were like number 2 overall, and they lost the first 2 games of the NCAA tournament. But UC Riverside's the gimme game, 25 and 28 last year. So they're going to get battle tested early based on those games. And then you have Morgan State in a doubleheader at 12 p.m. and 2:30 p.m. on March 2nd. And then March 3rd, they play Morgan State again. It's at noon. But Morgan State they were like 24 and 21 last year. So they're not like a bad team. Then they go on the road to Sam Houston State or Sam Houston March 5th at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. And last year they were like 25 and 32, 35, 22 and 35. Then they go host Oklahoma State for 3 games, and they made it to the World Series last year, remember. So they're going to be really battle tested. And of course, Wisconsin in the doubleheader March 12th at 5 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. And granted, for all these games here, we don't know what the weather's going to be like, or they're going to cancel the games, or I don't know, or do double headers, or I don't know what they're going to do with the weather. And I can't predict that. But Wisconsin was like 27-20 last year. So they're not like a bad team. Then they play a bad Kansas team, though they lost to them one time last year. And they'll be on the road March 5th through 17th. The 15th is at 5 p.m., 16th 2 p.m. and noon the next day. So, and Kansas was a team that did not play in a postseason game. They were like 25 and 27. Then they play Houston Christian in a noon, 6 p.m. Central Time on the 19th. But I will say this about Houston Christian: they're not that good of a team. So as you can tell, they're really battle tested early, and they were like Houston Christian was like 20 and 33 last year. Then they have to go on the road to Oklahoma for a series with them between March 22nd through 24th. And remember, Baylor was the only team that defeated Oklahoma last year in softball. So gotta keep that in mind. And the only time we know for the 3 games is at noon on the 24th. So, and remember, last time we played Oklahoma at Oklahoma, Baylor almost beat Oklahoma despite having a down year. Then they wait to play again until March 28th through 30th, a series against Iowa State, 6:30 p.m., 6:30 p.m., 2 p.m., and noon. And Iowa State had Baylor's number last year, and Iowa State was not even that good of a team. They didn't even play any tournament games here. I mean, not like the National Invitational Tournament, which for like basically the WNIT. I mean, of softball, but you know what I mean. Iowa State was like 25-30 last year, yet Baylor lost to them multiple times, and I still don't get it. But it was in Ames, and it was weird, and they also lost to like Oklahoma State. Then they played Texas State. That was a regional team last year on April 2nd at 6:30 p.m. And then they have a home series against Texas Tech on April 5th through 7th. 6:30 p.m., 2 p.m., and 1 p.m. And Texas Tech improved from last year. They even beat us once a year ago, and they didn't play in the WNIT or softball or anything like that, but they were like 31-22. So then they play UTSA. They're a terrible team, like 8-41 a year ago, and now it's on the road, but who cares? And that's April 9th at 6 p.m. Central Time. Though upsets do happen, so you can't overlook any teams. Then they play Texas one last time as a conference series, and the first game's in Waco while the next two are in Austin. But remember, last year Baylor swept Texas, even despite having one game in Austin. At 6:30 p.m., the first game. The second game, 2 p.m. on the 13th. The first game's like the 12th, like I said. The 14th of April at 1 p.m. Then they play UT Arlington at home at 6:30 p.m. Central Time, and UT Arlington was 22-30 last year. Then they have like a home series against UCF, and UCF series is like from April 19th through 21st to 19th, 6:30 p.m. April 20th, 2 p.m. 21st at noon. And UCF was a good team last year. They made it to the regionals, so they're not that bad of a team. Then Baylor plays at Utah, and we remember we played them right after we got that miracle comeback win. Remember, and they were a World Series team actually, and that's at April 24th at 6 p.m. Central Time. Yeah, and Utah is about to be a conference meet, so you know. Then they play BYU at BYU April 25th through 27th, 6 p.m. and 1 p.m. respectively, and they were basically the WNIT of softball. I mean, that's just the NIT of softball, just to let you know. But they were like 35-17 a year ago, so they're like a bad team by any means. Then they have May 3rd through May 5th with the series against Houston, and Houston was like 20-30 last year, like 6:30 p.m. 6:30 p.m. to 1 p.m. on May 3rd through 5th. Then there's the softball tournament in Oklahoma City, and that's May 8th through May 11th. And I don't know how they're going to do that for the softball this year. In terms of the tournament, I do not have a clue right now, but I'm going to look it up real fast. But as you could tell by the schedule, it's a really good one. And it's one that very well could potentially get them up to the point of hosting up to super regionals. If they could win a certain amount of course, take care of games that you should beat, and beating some of these NCAA tournament teams. And I expect Baylor softball to be in the top 25 at the beginning of the year this year, unlike a year ago. I really do. They returned a lot of production from last year. And and if they could just get enough quality wins, top 25 wins, and not or top 15 wins even, they could very well be, like I said, a top 8 seed for the NCAAs. And And as we all know, the softball only has like Kansas, UCF, Iowa State, Oklahoma State, Baylor, Texas, Houston, Texas Tech, and BYU. So 10 teams. Maybe they have all those teams there. I don't know, but that's going to be interesting how they're going to decide on that situation and all this. But this is a good schedule for Baylor softball in terms of a potential to get yourself a lot of resume boosting wins in terms of RPI and all the metrics that kind of help yourself to get ready for the NCAA tournament. Of course, you need to be ready for the conference because Texas is a top 25 team. They're going to be, and they are like a regionals team, a super regionals team. Oklahoma State's a good team in the past. I don't know how good they're going to be this year, but I have to think they're still going to be good despite losing a lot of seniors and including their best pitcher who transferred to Oklahoma. And speaking of which, Oklahoma is the national champ here 3 straight years. So you got to get ready for those teams. If they could somehow win, like, I don't know, 3 out of 6, 9 of those games, or even 4 out of 9 against those games, that would be really good. Besides beating like Tennessee, and they're going to host Tennessee right off the bat. So if they take 2 out of 3 and they beat Louisiana, and then, like I said, all the other opponents, the unranked opponents, they need to find a way to just sweep all those and have only losses to ranked teams. To be honest, which I know it's really high expectation, but I'm just saying, and I'm gonna go like the roster breakdown, like the expectations for next year anyway. But this team going into this year, they should be an NCAA tournament team. There's no shadow of a doubt. They're going to be battle tested though, so that's gonna really, and the strength of schedule's got to be up there. I mean, not just because of the Big 12. Yeah, they have like 26 home games this year. So yeah, that would be really interesting. Especially with 1 year left with Texas and Oklahoma, and then we have BYU and UCF that have softball. Of course, next year they're going to add, Colorado doesn't have softball. Actually, they do. My bad. But I definitely know the Arizona schools and Utah do. But I'm going to double check that on Colorado real fast. And I apologize for this delay here. I'm just trying to double check that, but I don't think they do. I just know when the Big 12 is going to not have Texas and Oklahoma anymore, they're going to have they don't have softball, but they do have, like I said, like all the other schools. So yeah, incoming schools are from a year now. So yeah, this should be a fun year coming up, but I'll do like a roster breakdown later, right before the season starts, or like a week or so. And the same thing goes for the baseball as well, so y'all can know what the feeling is and everything. So anyways, if you like this content, like and subscribe, and see you guys later on the road to 600 subscribers. Of course, the ultimate goal is 1,000 or more, so I can make money off this. Of course, liking a video, commenting a video really helps the YouTube algorithm, so more people can see it. Sharing the video does help too. And if you're watching, I appreciate it because it tries the numbers up in terms of number of viewers. Of course, if you're watching and not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. It's free, and hit the notification bell as well.